Hello and welcome to another collection update video. Now this video has been pushed forward because I was originally going to review either the Legacy of Death or the Vampire of the Mind, but excitement has got to me because of this. This is one of the rarest items in my collection, and it is a book. Yeah, shock horror, it's a book, not a big finish. But there are some other rare items in each category. There is 3 categories. There is obviously CDs, well, audios, books and figures, because I managed to pick up a rare figure which I've been after for a while, so I thought I'd do a sort of rare showcase, and the rare item, well, the rarest item out of the bunch is in this bag. So without further ado, let's look at the CD sort of big finish stuff, and then we'll work our way up to this. Right then, onto the big finish. Now, normally I have quite a bit of big finish, but I've sort of not got as much as I normally do, but there's still a little bit. So we've got the 4th Doctor Adventure, Gallery of Ghouls, which I'm yet to listen to, and I'm sort of looking forward to, but then I'm kind of dreading because it's by Alan Barnes. Ooh, Alan Barnes, yeah. Should be interesting. So I'm quite excited to listen to this, but then there's another part of me what's going, okay, it's Alan Barnes, so it might be a bit of a flop. Then we have Vampire of the Mind, the continuation of the Master Trilogy. I've listened to the first part of this and it was pretty good. I've just got to continue listening to this, and then a review of that will be up very soon, hopefully. And Big Finish had a sale on the 8th Doctor sort of stuff because it was celebrating 20 years since the TV movie. So 20 years since McGann graced our screens with his luscious locks. So now I picked up 3 stories from the 8th Doctor and Lucy adventures. I got Horror of Glam Rock, a story which has intrigued me for quite a while because it's got Bernard Cribbins and Paul McGann, so you can sort of say the 8th Doctor met Wilf, so that'd be quite nice. And it starts the Auntie Pat sort of stories, which is kind of odd because I've sort of experienced Zygon who Fell to Earth and Death in Blackpool, and this is her first story, I believe, and should be quite an interesting one. It's one that's intrigued me for a while. Then we have Max Warp. Yes, I've completed Series 2 of the 8th Doctor Adventures now. Now this one's intrigued me for a while because I do like Top Gear, and this is basically Doctor Who taking the P out of Top Gear. So there we are, you can sort of tell who's meant to be who, and even by the back of it you can tell who's meant to be. With Pilot Timbo the Ferret, which is sort of a pun on Richard Hammond being called the Hamster. So there we are. So Max Warp, I think that'll be a lot of fun. So I might review that actually. It's either Horror Glam Rock or Max Warp I want to review, and then Prisoners of the Sun. Yeah, another story which intrigued me since I got into the 8th Doctor stuff around 2014. This story's always sort of been on the back of my mind about getting, but obviously other releases I've got, and of course I picked up the 10th Doctor Adventures, which I have reviewed, so there'll be a link in the description if you haven't checked it out already. Just show you my limited edition number if you didn't know. It's quite a low one, and I ordered this the end of February, and I got 369, which is quite nice out of 5,000. So now let's go into this sort of rare audio, which isn't Big Finish, it is a BBC audio. Right, onto the BBC audios. Now I got this on a bundle on eBay for 10 quid, which is quite good because the sort of rare audio within this normally goes for like 17 to sort of 6. I've seen it on Amazon for 65 quid, which is kind of shocking, but I will tell you the story why it's sort of rare. But the first audio in the bundle was a 10th Doctor one, because obviously I've got into sort of a 10th Doctor mode in a sort of nostalgia route, so yeah, that'll be interesting, presented by Elizabeth Sladen. Then we have a reading, Day of the Troll. Now these intrigue me because they're all read by David Tennant, and David Tennant does all the different voices. Now I have experienced David Tennant doing them before in Pest Control, which was free with the Telegraph back in 2010. But this is quite an intriguing one. It looks kind of creepy, so it should be quite a good story to just sit back and relax to, because you don't really have to pay attention because it is like a book being read to you. Then we have Last Voyage, yeah, who's done by a Big Finish writer, a not very well renowned Big Finish, so I'm sort of worried about this one really, but should be interesting. And the rare BBC audio is Dead Air. Now this, I have listened to this story. If you've watched my 10th Doctor video, then you'll notice that I throwed a little reference to this, because I have listened to this, and James Goss did a superb job. This story is catered for audio, the way it's written and structured. It is really well designed for the audio medium. Yeah, it sort of reminds me of the Wave of Destruction, the Fourth Doctor adventure, with it being set on this pirate radio. And David Tennant does a smashing job voicing all these characters, and I don't know if I prefer the Wave of Destruction or this. It's very close. But the reason why this goes for a bit of money is because this was the last thing he recorded for BBC Audio while he was the Doctor, and that's why it sort of goes for a bit of money. I mean, I've seen it on Amazon for like 64, 40 quid, I've seen it on eBay for 17 quid. But it is getting re-released in a box set with another story. I think it's Dead Air Rising, read by Michelle Ryan, but I'm only interested in the ones read by David Tennant because I know that he does all the different voices. But yeah, a very good story. I may review it, I may listen to it again and review it, but have to see if people want that. Yeah, if you can find it cheap, then I would recommend it because it's a nice little 70-minute story. So yeah, there we are. Right then, on to figures. I have picked up the new 12th Doctor so-called second sonic screwdriver. I don't know why they call it the second screwdriver, because the screwdriver he had before was the 11th Doctor's, you know, hand-me-downs don't count as a sonic, so this is technically his first. I think this has just been released across the UK in Forbidden Planet and that. I managed to pick this up in Toys R Us, the last one there, which I sort of felt bad going in there, just going, oh god, why am I back in there? But yeah, it's alright. I think this is the best sonic screwdriver Character Options has ever produced, because it's got no legal guff, so it's quite close to a replica really. And all the effects, they've done it justice. And the design, it has grown on me, but I think that it should have like a feature where it extends, like the claws pop out or something, because it just seems quite a static thing compared to the other screwdrivers, because normally they have like an extending feature, but this doesn't, which is kind of a sad, because it's just really just a static thing and it just has the lights really. But it'd be nice if that feature like that extends and the claws pop out, but we haven't seen much of a screwdriver yet, so we can't really judge it at this moment in time. The rare figure I got was the Vespiform. Yes, 8 years of waiting and hunting him down, I finally have got the figure, and boy, he is just absolutely fantastic. He's a lot better in person. I mean, the detail is absolutely brilliant. Oh, I just absolutely love it. So now I've got all the builder figures, and I've got to say, this could possibly be my favourite character option builder figure. It is just superb, and oh, I love it. I mean, it goes well with the 10th Doctor figure, and hopefully it can be used for an upcoming Nightfort project if it does happen. So there we are. I absolutely love it. 8 years of waiting. I mean, the reason I didn't get it was because I had all the figures, because I got like the Sontaran Stratagem set and Stolen Earth set, so I didn't really think that I wanted to buy the figures again, but I managed to find this all complete on eBay, and it's so good to have it. Now before I go into the books, I picked up Doctor Who magazine, the 500th issue, which is a really good issue actually. It's really got some nice throwbacks from the comics, so if you're familiar with the comics, then it's really a nostalgia fest with having characters, you know, returning to Stockbridge, which is quite a heavy thing in the Doctor Who comics. And then you've got this souvenir edition, the pictorial guide of the first 500 issues, and a big poster, and yeah, some really good sort of competition things to enter. And yeah, it's recommended if you are into Doctor Who sort of magazine, then this is a really good celebration for the magazine. Right then, on to books. I'm going to start off with the new series books, and I'm going to go on to the Virgin New Adventure book at the end, where I'll showcase the rare book. Now, I've set myself a bit of a challenge involving the 10th Doctor books, because I've got majority of them. I think I'm missing 5 or 6, so I thought, wouldn't it be nice to get the whole of them so I can have sort of my childhood sort of Doctor Who reading. So the first book is Beautiful Chaos. Now this is quite surprising, because this is quite a fan favourite book, because it does have a returning foe from the 4th Doctor era, but at the time this book never intrigued me. I think I got the story of Martha instead. But yeah, it should be a very interesting read, this, by Gary Russell, and Gary Russell is normally a very good writer. So next up we have another 10th Doctor book, The Krillitane Storm. Yeah, this is quite an interesting one, and it sounds very good actually, with the setting and obviously the foe, the Krillitane. And yeah, I didn't get any of the books, like Prisoner of the Daleks, the Judgment of Jadoon. I didn't get any of those. I only got the only solo 10th Doctor book I got at the time was the Eyeless. So it'd be nice to get the solo 10th Doctor adventures. And finally, I've got the most recent one, which I mentioned again in my 10th Doctor adventures review, In the Blood by Jenny T. Colgan. Now I've started reading this, and it's a pretty good book so far, and I really do like the concept of this about sort of internet trolls, because it is a big prominent thing, you know, it's a thing what happens on YouTube, so it's quite a prominent thing on Twitter and that. So yeah, it's very much like a sort of Barry Letts sort of story, you know, using something from the time and sort of getting a message across within it. I mean, I've read a fair bit of it so far, and I've got to say it is a pretty solid book. So that concludes the new series books. Now let's go on to the rare Virgin new adventure. What new adventure could be lying within this bag of delights? If I can just take the book out. There we are, and move the bag. So this is my first Virgin book I have ever got, and it's certainly one to start, and the price I got this would be unbelievable. When you hear the price and you see the book, you'll find it quite hard to believe. And the book is Lung Barrow. Yes, I have got one of the rarest, I think it's the second rarest, or it might be the rarest of the Virgin New Adventures. It's either the Dying Days or Lung Barrow. Yeah, you might be wondering, what price did I pay for this audio? Now I paid, believe it or not, 1p. Which I'll insert a photo in that. So there we are, I bought this for 1p, and obviously Amazon, well, I got this off Amazon for 1p, and the postage was £2.80 like it is for any Amazon item. And yeah, it's come, I thought it's a very hard thing to believe, you know, getting Lung Barrow for 1p, and the condition it's in pretty good nick for 1p. I mean, the spine is a little bit faded, as you can see, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, there is a little bit of damage there, but for 1p, and it is Lung Barrow, as you can see, it is in pretty immaculate condition. You know, all the pages are there, which is nice, they're all in good nick, you know, no drawings. So it's quite an unbelievable thing to have happen, and I don't think that this will ever happen again to me. For getting like a book at this price, and such a rarity of it is unbelievable. So, oh, it's just so good to have it. I mean, I said to myself, if I was ever going to get any of the Virgin New Adventures, it would either be Lung Barrow or The Dying Days. Not because they're rare, it's just because they intrigue me, and Lung Barrow's been a book that does intrigue me a hell of a lot, and now I can finally experience it for myself, and oh, it just feels good to have it. I mean, you can see where I was coming from with it. Might be not a genuine thing, it might just be a PDF printed off with this, like the cover just stuck on, just going, there's Lung Barrow, but it is genuine, and I think the seller may have slipped up. I mean, that just proves that no matter how rare the item is, you can stumble across it in bizarre circumstances. Just look at me with Cyberman 2, I found it for £10, but I think this has definitely beat that with it being 1 penny. So yeah, £2.81 I paid for this marvellous book, and it is definitely one of the crown jewels in my collection, and it definitely is a crown jewel in my book collection. So that concludes this collection update with the Vespiform figure, the sonic screwdriver, and a lovely big finish on the BBC audios there, and of course the 10th Doctor Adventures and some lovely books, and the god of all books, Lung Barrow. So there we have it, another collection update video complete. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video, which will be a review of the Legacy of Death.